game Asanor. So let's take a break. We're on serve 4-3 Asanor. Third set. Connors with 2 sets in hand.
Barry Carrillo, and I'm sure James Scott Connors is thinking, I would have just as soon been in the locker room at this point.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. And he has played so well, and also, as Mary pointed out the last time you came out to us, that he has played carefully. He's played very intelligently. But Asanor got the break. Jimmy couldn't climb back in with his own serve. That was in game number 8, and it was the only break that Connors has had in almost 2 sets.
Well, Connors really tried to stick it to Asanor in this third set. He wanted to be off the court. And he said that in his match against Todd Witzkin, because he's doing commentary here as well as playing in the tournament this week. Someone asked him after he beat Witzkin, well, if you were calling your own match, what would you have said about yourself? And he said, I would have said that the boy is lucky to have won in straight, and of course now he's not going to win this thing in straight if he wins it at all. He didn't want to go to a 4th set. He tried to finish a lot of points at the net, and he just wasn't able to. Asanor came up with some good passes. But he'll continue to do that, because he was talking about this match yesterday, and he said, look, whatever happens, I'm going to be coming in. Anything short, I'm going to be jumping on. Serves, I'm going to be jumping on. And he'll continue that against Asanor. He's going to try to press him. Again, Asanor is a talented clay court player. He's only won 1 of his 3 titles off of the surface of clay. I mean, this is what he really, makes his money on. But he's also he's a wild man. I mean, he can really he's not a patient clay court player at all. He can hit to all fields, and Connors knows that.
Asanor coming off a career high $243,000 and finished in the top 50 for the 4th straight year. That was last year. And he beat Connors. That was, as Mary was mentioning, a different surface. They played at Toulouse.
Flat ball, according to Asanor.
You know what's really interesting, for the people that were not here earlier when we came out and we talked about how Jimmy had the crowd in his pocket, every time Asanor has gone toward the umpire's chair, the crowd has really gotten on him bad. And this is his home.
Well, it's Kids Day here, as we've said over and over, and this server is the biggest kid here, and that's why the fans love him so much. He's trying real hard to kid the calendar.
Love 15.
See Connors, he is taking time between points. He's a lot fitter than he was a few months ago when we saw him play at the Lipton tournament, where he did win a round. He's been working out, and he's lost some weight. Came into this tournament pretty fit. He says he just wants to climb back into the top 100. That's the first thing he wants to do this year. He's hoping he's playing his best tennis by the time he reaches the U.S. Open.
It's amazing. A lot of people, including a lot of his fellow players, were surprised to see him here in Paris to play in this tournament. We're glad that he did.
Nicely done. Yeah, you mentioned the name Connors to the players here. And a big smile crosses over all their faces. Jim Courier yesterday called this guy the Nolan Ryan of tennis. Of course, he hasn't quite done what Ryan has done. We mentioned earlier, Connors has only played a handful of matches in the last 2 years. But once he had his wrist surgery last October, he really felt that, you know, his doctor said to him, if you can, you know, if it feels good in 6 months, it'll feel good for 5 years. And he says there's no problem.
All. Tell you who else gets excited when Connors' name comes up on the roster to play, and that's the people who promote these tournaments because of what he does in putting people in the stands.
The Agenor is finally starting to play a more intelligent match. He's making Connors hit a lot of balls, and that's what he should have done right from the start. Try to wear him down. You can see Connors was a little weary by the time he got to this one. He couldn't jump up as much as he needed for the smash. Now 30 all.
Well, it's a break point for Asanor. Mary's point really comes home, particularly considering what happened in the first and second set when Asanor could not hold serve. He was broken 6 times in the first 2 sets, and now he's hitting shots that he was not hitting. He's keeping the ball in play, and Jimmy's having to go after a lot of shots he didn't have to go after earlier. That is wide, and Connors has been broken to open the 4th set. He is down love 1, leading 2 sets to 1. And let's go back to Barry Tompkins. Barry.
All right, thanks very much, Ron Franklin. And why don't we bring you up to...
And that's going to be his single biggest problem right now.
I thought so too when he came back after the last changeover. In fact, I think some of Jimmy's allies have gone home. Kids Day, and I think some of them have headed toward the exits in the trains.
Yeah, that's too good, and Connors didn't bother chasing that down.
4-love, Asanor in this 4th set.
Connors has got to decide, unless he already has, whether he should just toss this set and concentrate on winning the 5th. As you can see, he didn't bother chasing down that fine drop shot from Asanor. We'll be able to tell by the way he plays his own service game whether he's decided on that. Just sort of shoring up his reserves for the final set of this. Connors never won this French Open. He's won everything else, but he's never won the French. This is his 12th try at it. He missed it a bunch of years. In fact, had he played it and won it in 1974, he would have had himself a Grand Slam. But he was playing World Team Tennis that year, and participants in that weren't allowed to play. That looks like a tired forehand. I'm not saying he would have won the French Open, Connors. That was the year Bjorn Borg won his first of 6. But it's sort of a pity, and Connors feels that way now. He wishes he'd given himself a couple more whacks at the French. 4 times he's been a semifinalist here.
And 15-30. You know, Mary, in fact, that's a pretty good trivia question. Is Laver not the only one that, I know he won the Grand Slam, but is he not the only in modern era to have captured all 4 tournaments? And not necessarily the same year, but through the career. I think he is. He got it.
Well, you know, there's some big tournaments missing from some players' resumes. Bjorn Borg was never able to win the U.S. Open. John McEnroe never won this event. He also never won the Australian, which, again, it's a pity that his record is blemished, too. As you can see, a nice stab volley winner from Agenor. And, again, you know, I kind of wish that, I'm sure they wish, too, that maybe they'd gone after those tournaments a little bit more. I mean, surely none of them have anything to regret about their careers. But even Martina Navratilova and Chris Evert have spoken about that, you know, when Steffi Graf won the Grand Slam a couple of years ago, they said, you know, we didn't really think of it that way. And it's a pity. Neither one of those two won all 4 in the same calendar year.
Agenor got there, but he'll push it wide. 30-40. Yeah, John Newcomb is another one. That this is one tournament that John was never able to.
Well, some greats. You know, Ken Rosewall never won Wimbledon. Neither did Pancho Gonzalez.
Agenor now goes up 5-love in the 4th set. So let's take a break. Connors leads 2-1. Well, we're back. Ron Franklin, Mary Carrillo. We are live from Paris. This day 3 of the French Open 1991. Jimmy Connors looks at an ace. And triple set point for that man right there, Ronald Agenor.
It's hard to know what Connors has left in his tank. I remember a couple of years ago when he was playing Andre Agassi at the U.S. Open. He only very nearly beat him in the 5th set after he was having dizzy spells in the 4th, and everyone thought maybe he was going to fall down and not get up. But it's really on Agenor's racket now.
So the situation, we're going to go to a 5th set. Connors won the first 2, 4-2. Agenor has taken the last 2 sets, 6-3, and now 6-love. Now, I can promise you this. The noise you're hearing from the crowd is for James Scott Connors.
All service, Connors. Messi.
Right sur la ligne, as they say around here. That hit off the line. I've watched, you hear the crowd. Finally, Connors wins a cheap point, and you can hear them trying to get him going. I've been watching some of this match with Jimmy Connors' producer at NBC, Glenn Adamo. He was hoping this guy would come through so there'd be a little participatory journalism going on. Connors and Chang on Saturday. I'm not sure that's going to happen anymore.
15-30.
Now Connors is thinking he's hit a soft ball. There's some other great third-round matchups. Pat McEnroe playing Andre Agassi.
Premier service.
It's kind of a fun one to watch. The ball was deemed dead, so they will replay that point.
Hands up.
Agenor did the same thing just a few moments ago. He got catcalls. Connors walks up, gives the ball to the chair umpire, and he gets raised.
He's a hero.
Yeah. You know, here, you handle the grenade. That's right on the
You got it. Those are exactly the kind of shots that Agenor was hitting to all fences in the first couple of sets. And now he's finally decided to calm down and just play solid clay court tennis.
Late wake-up call, but it's working. Fifth set. Connors down 15-30. Jimmy wins the point, but he goes back to use the towel and also get an opportunity to kind of catch his breath. As Agenor, as you can see, it's very simple what he's doing. Side tennis. Trying to keep wearing him down.
Michael Chang, by the way, sure didn't have an easy time getting into the next round. A 5-setter, but he's now 4-0 in 5-setters at the French Open.
Just wide, 30-40.
Chang, who plays the winner of this match, is 8-1 in 5-setters. The only time he ever lost a 5-set match was the first time he ever played one. It was in 1987 to Naduka Odozor at the U.S. Open. At this point in Chang's career, he's one of the youngest players in the draw. He likes 5-setters a lot more than this server, who's the oldest guy in the draw. Got him.
Toronto.
And again, see Connors gulping air, taking all kinds of time. He's got 25 seconds. He'll try to use 26 or 7 if he can. And Agenor too much on the run to pass effectively.
That's just wide. Advantage Connors.
Avantage Connors.
Deuce.
The oldest man to ever win the French Open was Andres Jimeno. He was 34 years old in 10 months. Ken Rosewall was 33 years old when he won it in 68. He was, until Borg won it in 74, he was also the youngest ever to win it. When he did that in 53, he was an 18-year-old. Pretty show-offy of him. 15 years later, comes back and wins it again. When John McEnroe lost the other day, he was asked by the press how he thought Connors would do with the French. And John just smiled and said, "Look, we've become good friends lately. I don't want to say anything that might hurt that." But still, I really thought going in that this was a winnable match for Jimmy. And he might still figure out a way to win it.
Oh my, you have to wonder if that fuel tank is running a little bit low, because Jimmy now has been broken 5 straight times. Agenor leads 1-love, 5th. Back in Court Central, we're live from Paris, 3rd day of action here at the French Open, the 100th anniversary. Agenor in the far court goes on top 30-love in the second game. In case you just joined us, we'll review it for you. Connors won the first set 6-4. It came on to win the second 6-2. Then was halted 6-3 in the third, and Asanor has just won 6-love in the fourth and is up a break here in the fifth. Mary, the one thing you mentioned a moment ago that you thought this was winnable for Jimmy, but the thing that you told me earlier this morning was it needs to be short if he's going to win it.
Yeah, he really kind of had to take down Agenor in 3. And Agenor has really cleaned up his act, which is just what he had to do.
He looks like a different person. Some sort of metamorphosis has come over him, but the first couple of sets, it was like the biorhythms.
Well, he's a mad slasher, though, Ron. I mean, that's really how he plays. But he was bright enough to calm down.
Jimmy pushes that one long, and it is 2-love here in the fifth set. Agenor. Known by many as the Haitian sensation. Reason for that, I guess he was born or moved to Haiti very early on in his life.
Right, he was born there. He's been living in Bordeaux, though, about an hour plane ride from here. He's been living there for years. He speaks French fluently, and the French adopt him when he's winning anyway. When he's losing, they consider him a Haitian. But he's an interesting guy. He's got sort of a crazy game. He speaks 5 different languages, including Creole and
Swahili also.
Yeah, not a lot of guys in the locker room who, share the Swahili language with him.
But just think of the secrets you could keep. $30-love.
Connors gets the last word on that 2 leg cords, and he threw up his fist when he won that one. Again, this shot hit the net, and so did the reply. He gets to just flick it into the open court. Touch from Connors. Again, just barely hit that, went over like a whisper.
So we're tied 2 sets apiece. Agenor up a break in the 5th.
Agenor mène 2-1. Dernier moment.
And Jay Connors, 3-1 Agenor with a break in the 5th. There's Ron Franklin and Mary Carrillo.
Well, Jimmy's battling. He's serving right now. He has just brought it back even at 30 all. He was down love 30 and certainly could not afford to be down 2 breaks in this 5th. He trails 3-1. Won the first 2. Agenor 6-3 and 6-love in the last 2. Just wide.
Oh boy, that was a key call that Connors needed. Guy's going to trot out now and then see if he was right. Now Agenor saying to the chair, "Hey bud, come on down and take a look at this."
Merci.
Connors has to hope that this the Connors is going to play this up. He's going to doll up the whole situation, and he's going to hope that it really rattles Agenor. This is a big chance for Connors to get back in. You can see, oh God, nobody works in a room like that guy. It's what John McEnroe was talking about the other day. Nobody does it like Jimmy.
Sultan Ganji of Great Britain is the man in the chair, and he decided he was not going to come down and take a look at it.
Boy, Agenor, they turned on him or what?
Merci, mademoiselle, madame. 40.
In Agenor's last service game, it went to 30-30, and a very nice shot by Connors to win. And the crowd started stomping their feet and clapping their hands. And
yeah,
again, Agenor just kind of looked into the stands.
Yeah, but Ron, right now, he's got to consolidate this, Connors. He's got to win this point. Otherwise, he'll climb right back into that hole. He wins this point, maybe this match changes for him.
That's long. Connors holds. He is down a break. It is 3-2 Agenor in the 5th. We'll be right back with more live from Paris. You're looking at the back of Ronald Agenor. He came out early, and part of his purpose was to go over and to talk to that one line judge on the far side, the one who called the ball out just a moment ago. Jimmy missed it. Connors just hit the ball wide.
Hands up.
Didn't miss by much, but Connors didn't kick up a fuss. Once he got close enough to the net to see this forehand of his, this is the one that he belted just wide. He took a good enough look at it to realize that he had, in fact, just missed.
15-all. Match now 3 hours and 12 minutes long. Listen to the crowd. He frames it into the stands. They go wild.
Hands thrown. Merci. First long super play. Merci.
No call has been made, and Jimmy is going up to show that the mark is clearly behind the tee.
20 feet. 20 feet.
Didn't give it to Connors. Or did he? Uh-oh, now Agenor is aggravated because the chair has come out to take a peek. And it's out. You make the call.
Barry, that mark is so
Check the
low.
mark, and you didn't want to check the mark over there. Tell me why. You can see better the mark from here than from there.
Agenor's beef is that Ganji didn't get out of the chair to check out his call on that side.
And now Jimmy has taken a chair out of the stands and is sitting down and resting in the backcourt. Oh, God. I have to agree with the chair. The mark goes 6 inches or better behind the tee. I don't think the ball could have flattened out that much, do you?
Those slashing marks are tough to call.
Connors with 2 break points.
Connors really didn't put this first smash away, did he? He aimed it into the center of the court. Agenor got it back, but couldn't control it.
15-40.
Lawns.
He's going to try to do what what Boris Becker has been able to do, what Pete Sampras guys a lot younger than he. Guys who in the last 24 hours have come back from 2 sets.
Mary, in the first...
I shouldn't have said that, by the way. Of course, Connors lost the last couple of sets. He won the first 2, so it's not the same situation. But for Connors, to my mind, it would be much more of an upset for a guy like Jimmy Connors to get deep into this tournament than a very, very young guy.
The crowd again chanting, Jimmy, Jimmy. Tell you what else he did. He had broken Agenor 6 times in the first 2 sets. Agenor had held service 11 straight times until that game. That's wide. Mary, let me correct myself. 10 straight times rather than 11. Still, he had a pretty good string going.
Yeah, that's an important point to make, that finally Connors was able to crash through this guy's serve.
7:41 here in Paris, and they're staying tight. They don't want to go home on this one. Tied at 3 in the 5th set. Just long.
Hands off.
15 all. Been a tough day for Arantxa Sanchez Vicario. Her brother got upset this afternoon, and she is due on this court here, and I'm wondering if they're going to have enough light to get them on here.
Well, she's actually, they put her out on
okay.
they put her out on court 3, because you're right, it stays light here for another couple of hours, but it's not fair to keep someone waiting.
She's up 4-love over Kodrich of Australia in that first set.
Yeah, I think she'll cruise through that.
Couldn't get there.
Jimmy Connors, television commentator. You can call this real investigative journalism. Call it heavy research for him to be putting together this kind of data on the players. He didn't invent this idea, surely. George Plimpton did it before Connors, and before that, Paul Gallico, who used to fight boxers and catch against baseball pitchers. But I'm not convinced any of those guys could actually be winning rounds at a major sporting event the way this guy is.
No, you're right. And you called it best early on. He's a maestro. He can work a crowd as well or better than anybody. .40-15.
Caron Pans.
Really throwing himself around now to try to win this. He said, I never want to have to say to myself, what if? That's why he's hung around. And I mean, look who he's eclipsed, who he's outdistanced. Borg, until his mile comeback this year. I mean, he's been out of the game since '81, for all intents and purposes. Connors was playing Rosewall. He was playing during Laver. He's still around. And his ranking is in the 300s now. As I said earlier, the first order of business for him this year is to get himself back into the top 100. Any wishes other than that, he's not telling us. He's keeping that close his sleeve, but he really thinks he can still make a dent. A couple of years ago, I was talking to him, and he said, boy, give me back 10 years. And earlier this year, I threw that back at him, and he said, I don't think that way anymore. I had a hell of a career. I'm happy where I am now. I want to keep going, see what I can still do.
We saw it with Foreman earlier this year in boxing, or have continued to see it. A.J. Foyt at the Indianapolis 500 last weekend.
Mark Spitz.
Mm-hmm. That is just wide. Connors, we're on serve, leads 4-3 in the 5th.
Winning his first round match will also be in action. That's all starting at 9 o'clock Eastern. Back out to Court Central and Ron and Mary.
Agenor serving, love 15. We're on serve in the 5th.
Hands up.
Another American, Aaron Krickstein, just dropped the 3rd set in his match out there. Our good friend Dr. Leo Levin, statistician, calls him the Ernie Banks of tennis. Hey, you want to play 5? He had a 5-setter yesterday, and he's playing with an injury. He hurt himself in Dusseldorf, so he's a little sore. We'll see if he gets past that. If he does, he plays Alberto Mancini next round.
$40-15.
Well played by Agenor, because that return of Connors had skipped off the line.
The tick is in his favor as the ball falls over, and it is 4-4 in the 5th set. Here's the match that Mary's talking about. Krickstein losing the 3rd set and trails 1-0 in the 4th.
Gustafsson's been playing such good ball. I'd kind of give him the edge in that one. Connor's warming up his commentary for this weekend.
He was trying to say that serve was weak.
That's out. By the way, Chris Evert was also to be joining Jimmy this weekend.
10-0.
But she's resting up herself and her little baby. She hopes to be well. In fact, she's supposed to be fine for Wimbledon, where she'll reassume her television commentary. I'm sure she's watching this and rooting for the server.
15 love.
From 0.
Agenor looks on in somewhat of bewilderment as Connors again just getting a big kick out of the roar from the crowd.
When Connor smiles, his smile, boy, he looks just like his son Brett. Of course, he's got a little girl, Aubrey Lee, too. This face sheds about 30 years.
Front 15.
John McEnroe was once asked what it would take for him to enjoy the same crowd response as Jimmy Connors. And he said, this was a couple of years ago, he said, I'd have to get married, have kids, and start losing. And in fact, he is a wild favorite, especially in Europe. They love him here, and when he won that first set in his first round match, the place went nuts. Of course, then he lost in 4. Oh, he missed an easy one, sitting right on top of the net, took a big old swing at that.
Front 1.
So Connors was up 30-love, and now it's 30 off.
That's a kind of a big point, too, because he didn't have to overplay this at all. He really just had to poke it into the open court. And as you can see, the ball just got bigger and bigger in his eyes. And he's taken some time before he serves at 30 all, thinking about this one, hoping the memory goes away. Who knows how expensive that missed forehand will be.
30 all, 4-4, 5th set.
Fans still applauding this one from Connors. He didn't put these volleys away, did he? Actually, he had to take a couple of volleys before he finally ended this one. But he did.
Sitting here in the stadium, if you didn't know better, could have looked away and thought that maybe the Giants had just scored against Buffalo in the Super Bowl again. It's amazing.
And this gives Connors a chance to go up 5-4 in the final set.
Deuce.
He's missed so many first serves when he's really needed them. Yeah.
Nailed it.
He just doesn't want to act his age at all, does he?
He really does. Well, it was up 30-love. Asanor came back and squared it at 30 all. Then he had the advantage. Back to deuce, and now the advantage again. This is the chin, Jimmy. Advantage counters. We're going to take a break. On serve, Connors leads 5-4 in the fifth. Court Central, live from Paris. Agenor leading at 15 love, and I'll make it 30 love in this 10th game of the fifth set. There you see the scores. Connors jumping out 6-4, 6-2. Then he could only manage 3 games in the next 15. But came back with the big break in game number 6 to draw this even. And we are on serve.
Silence, s'il vous plaît. Wrong,
30-15. All.
Wrong. Merci. Merci, Madame.
It was called long. Connors with the match point.
Wrong, Caron. Silence, s'il vous plaît, Madame, Monsieur. Merci. Merci. Silence.